I feel tremendously connected to people around the world for many reasons. One, just being an outsider, like being an immigrant in a new country. I mean, I know so many people around the world feel that way. It doesn't necessarily have to be the US, it doesn't have to be India, but just being an immigrant and a global traveler of sorts and having to try and find your feet, being a woman, and then being a woman of color. There are so many big picture reasons for which I feel like I connect with a lot of people, but more than anything, I'm just a girl with a dream. You know, I come from a really small town and I am fearless in the face of adversity when it comes to my work. When it comes to my real life, I cry. But when it comes to work, I'm a beast. I think that is, on that level, I connect with a lot of people around the world because ambition has no color, it has no language, it has no border or a country. Ambition is pure ambition, and I have it. And I wish for the women of the world to not be afraid to have it, because we've been told for such a long time that ambition is a bad word for a girl. And oh my gosh, she's too ambitious. Like, when did that become a bad thing? And so, I mean, I think I connect with people on that level. I'm not someone who thinks about what I'm going to do next on for a long time. I'm very instinctive when it comes to the choices of my projects. But what I do like to think about is, would I want to watch it? Like whenever I pick a movie, or I want to definitely do a movie in India this year. I definitely want to do a feature this year here because I'm a 70mm girl. Like, I've done features all my life. It was hard to be away from that for a while, even though I have Isn't It Romantic coming out next year on Valentine's Day, which is super fun and great. So I think I am very moody when it comes to the choices that I make. I like to be true to myself as an artist. The integrity of what I feel creatively like I want to do. Developing and producing is something I'm really into right now. I'm doing a lot of movies in India. I'm doing a lot of stuff here, whether that is documentaries, features, TV, digital. So I think I'm just in a place of wanting to be creative, and that's how I choose what to do. I'm writing a book this year too. I think creativity cannot have a vertical, you know? It can take any form. It's sort of metamorphosis. And that's what I'm trying to do. Being in front of the camera is very different than being behind the camera, and I started that way, right? I'm an actor first, and then I sort of became a producer. But when you're in front of the camera, you're the means to an end. I am the vessel for someone else's language. So it's the director's medium, or it's the writer's medium, and what words they write. Where an actor comes in is from the script to action and cut. That's where we bring in our expertise, and which is incredible. It's one of the best jobs on the planet, is to, you know, see what your director wants or what your writer has envisioned, and then to be able to deliver that is and then to be able to add to it, to be an asset also. So it's super amazing. But as a producer, to have an idea and then to see it becoming real, it's crazy. It's like, the first time that happened, it was literally just a conversation, and you guys will know about it soon, but I can't talk about it yet. But it was literally a late night room service, a glass of wine conversation between me and my manager, and now it's become a real thing. It's a show. And I was like, what? That's the power of being behind the camera, I guess. It's your own. I mean, there are so many incredible women in the world at the moment that I really, really admire, who I've had the opportunity of meeting. I mean, Indra Nooyi, who I'm speaking with today, she's definitely a woman that I completely and wholly admire for her tenacity and everything else that she stands for. But like Patty Jenkins is another person who I really admire. I had met her and Gal, and we were just generally talking about filmmaking and cinema, and just her progressive, like her sex or her gender had nothing to do with the way she thought, and her ideas of filmmaking and the movies that she's made are just incredible. Ava DuVernay, another one. I really, really admire Reese Witherspoon as well. She's just incredibly taking, you know, charge of her life and you know, doing things with it. Mindy Kaling is another one who I really think was always ahead of the game. I mean, I'm a really big champion of women who take their destinies in their own hands. I'm really excited to be speaking to exactly this audience at the Women's Summit, because you have an audience full of women achievers who have, if I'm here doing the closing keynote speech, any one of the women sitting in the audience could be doing it because they've had those achievements. And so it's not me talking about myself, or it's not me talking about what I've done, but it's actually a dialogue. The way I see it is when you're in a room full of achievers, there's nothing new that I can say, but what I can say is my perspective, and that's what I'm excited about. Listening also about what, how did they get there? What did they think? What was different? And then, using that as an asset to whatever I do next. Philanthropy has been a really part of my life, big part of my life, but not because I'm a public person and I think that when you become a public person, you need to give back to society. Yes, for sure. But I think it's every human being's duty and responsibility. The way I see it is, my mom said this to me when I was really young. She said that no matter where you are in life, there will be someone who's worse off than you. It doesn't matter. Like, sometimes we think our lives are so bad because of all the things that, insecurities and whatever negative feelings we're feeling in life, that we forget how privileged and blessed we are because of someone else who will always be in a worse position. So I think philanthropy is definitely a social responsibility that is extremely important for privileged people to recognize and understand that, people who are underprivileged, who don't have as much as we do, are our responsibility, because we just have one world and everyone is a part of that. So I choose to do a lot of work with children because I really do feel that they transcend language, borders, and barriers of any kind. They're the future of the world, and I choose the future. I don't see myself speaking at this panel to try and be, a flag bearer of any sort, but I think that I would love for people to take away that it is all right to be a fierce female achiever and yet be okay with being vulnerable and being okay with being female, because that is where our strength comes in. The softness that we bring to the table, but at the same time, the tenacity we do, is the strength of female leaders, and this entire room is full of female leaders. So I hope that they will take that back. Our femininity is our greatest strength.